These are my broken Nuobell handles, but they didn't start like this. I took one apart for this teardown video and the other didn't survive my drop test. But even if it had, I'm going to show you why Nuobells will eventually fail no matter what. I think these are one of the most overrated and overhyped gym products out there, but every time I'm critical of them, people fight me on it. But here's the thing. A reviewer doesn't make money by telling you what not to buy, and me going out and spending more money just to break things to prove my point seems kind of stupid. But here we are. I did buy all of this, and if you enjoy this type of content, please let me know what else you want to see me destroy, and subscribe so I can justify my reckless spending. I'm going to show you the drop test so you can see just how long my handles survive, and I'll break down Nuobell's internal systems, which will show you their shortcomings and the various ways they end up breaking. Now, I'm not arguing against the elegant aspects of Nuobell's designs. These things are gorgeous. I love the idea of them, but it's not difficult or expensive for them to address a lot of the stuff I'm about to show you. But before we get to all that, I have to give credit to Joe from Average Joe Innovations, because he reached out to me after our Snowed 8080 review, where I got a lot of pushback when I didn't recommend Nuobells. Joe has his own Nuobell Teardown video, and between me watching it and a lot of communication back and forth between us, I was able to take mine apart without breaking them into a bunch of pieces like Joe had to get his apart. So it wasn't easy. So thank you, Joe, because without him, this video wouldn't be nearly as polished and I probably would have had to buy a lot more handles. So check out his video and channel, which I've linked in the description. Nuobells are fairly simple, at least from the outside. It's what's inside that causes all the issues. So let's start with how they work, because it'll better set this whole thing up. As you rotate the handle, two aluminum rods extend out into the next plate. The rods, so there's two of these, and they slide back to back inside the handle, and combined with the plastic dovetails on each plate, that's what secures the plates to the handle. So you've got your plates kind of joined together in a series, and as the rod goes further and further out, it's selecting the next plate and the next plate until you've got the full dumbbell. Nuobell isn't the only one using this design though. Core does it, Snowed has something similar with the telescoping rod, although they're using a dial and their builds and internals are much more durable and simpler than this, and there's others all kind of trying to do the same thing. So what's the issue here? There's a few, but the last thing I'm going to show you will happen. This design is flawed and these will break, and as I walk you through the breakdown, you'll be able to see how complex they are. But their complexity isn't necessarily a problem because there is some very clever and well done engineering here. Let's start with the simpler mechanisms, and you can watch me lose my mind trying to explain and demonstrate just how intricate this gets. The simplest system is probably the handle lock. These can only be adjusted when on the cradle. When you place them down, there's two little plastic prongs, and they go and they push on a little plastic button that's sitting on a spring. There's one on each side of the handle, and you can actually see where the spring sits right there, and then the prong would come through right there. When it's not pressed, your handle is in a locked position because the button is stuck between little plastic tabs. When the cradle pushes the buttons, they're able to glide over the tabs until they hit the next slot. Easy enough, right? Except there's a little piece of plastic that kind of floats above the button and keeps the handle hooked to the cradle when it's not in the correct position. I can't believe I just said that is the simplest part of this entire thing. This is the exterior housing that the head plate gets screwed into. And fun fact, that plate is held onto the handle by 4 tiny screws that go into this plastic housing. On the inside, you've got a selector ring that gets sandwiched between 2 gear tracks, one on each side of the handle. The selector ring has 5 gears on it, and as you spin the handle, where's the window? There it is. As you spin the handle, this spins, showing you the weight increment through the selector window. Still with me? All right. When you select a weight, there's 2 little small metal tabs, one on each side and then another pair on this side, that go in or out depending on if you need these smaller 2.5 pound weights. And that's so you can get those 5 pound increments. If they're out, you get the If they're out, you get the plates, and if they're in, the plates stay in the cradle. The tabs ride on this quatrefoil shape, and yes, I looked up and I'm still not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but I'm sure somebody will let me know in the comments. As it rides over the convex portion, the tabs are pushed out, and in the concave section, the internal spring pushes them back in. Again, pretty clever, but you might be starting to see how this all adds up. So let's go over one more system before I show you where this whole thing falls apart. When you rotate the handles, you get a satisfying clicking noise, and that comes from two little ball bearings that ride along this metal plate. Bye-bye, ball bearing. I miss you. Come back, please. It's not going to stay. That's fine. But it rides along this plate until it snaps into one of these holes. The plate sits inside the handle, and this is where the fun begins. You've got your ball bearing, a little plastic plunger, and a spring that all get fed through. Haven't fallen apart yet. Wow, just said it perfectly. This little track here, and then get held together by this plate. Now, I practiced this assembly a dozen times for the camera, and I'd love to say this is where it all broke down, that if they tweaked this one thing, then you could repair them if something happened. But these things are ridiculously complex. Remember, for each system I'm showing you, there's another one on the other side of the handle, and then obviously a whole other pair in the other handle. Every time I touched these, something would fall or fly out. I'd end up racing to get parts before they rolled off the table, and a lot of screaming and swearing ensued. These are not repairable, not for your average person, your DIYer, or for someone who taught engineering for 17 years. But you know what they say, those that can't do, teach, and those that can't teach become YouTubers. Even if you could get the handles apart without breaking them, which is nearly impossible, I'd go so far as to say Nuobell is well aware of the limitations and fragility of their design, and they don't want people fixing them. But worse than that, they haven't fixed them themselves. Now, you might be thinking, who cares? I'm never gonna repair mine. They're perfectly fine. But these absolutely will break eventually, because even if all these springs and plastic parts and mechanisms never fail on you, this next part will. The system that extends and retracts the rod is the weak point of the entire thing. Inside this handle on each side are 4 little plastic pieces, so 8 per handle. These are your cam followers. The followers ride along these grooves and guide the rod inward and outward as you spin the handle. The problem is the aluminum channel slowly wears the plastic followers down. You can actually see plastic residue along this channel on this rod, and this handle was bought brand new. I spun it maybe 10 times to make sure it worked before taking it apart. It might not be today or tomorrow, but eventually your cam followers will wear down, and then the sides of your handles will go out of sync, the rods won't extend or retract, and the entire handle ends up worthless. That's of course not the only way these can fail. Any one of these mechanisms could break, but you don't have to believe me. A quick Google search will bring up a ton of stories on them breaking. All right, what about if they fall off something or you drop them? Well, I did. I strapped my plates onto a brand new official Nuobell handle and started my drops at 17 inches, your typical bench height, and slowly ramped up the height from there. You want to guess how far they made it? One drop from 17 inches. This broke on the first attempt. The aluminum rod bent, and I don't know if you can see that, but the internal mechanisms are out of sync, and who knows what else broke internally. It could be a combination of things, but I couldn't get the handle to retract, and Nuobell's own video suggests you hammer the rods in to get your plates off. So that's what I had to do. This is absolutely worthless. It's just gonna get sent to a landfill because there's no way to fix it. But that's okay. When yours break, you can always buy another pair from Nuobell if they're not already under warranty. Listen, if you like your Nuobells and they're working for you, that's great. I'm not attacking you. I just think these have been overhyped and are overrated, and I'm trying to help some people out. There's no affiliate here, and I'm clearly not making money on this video, but Nuobell has had plenty of time to update these, and there are a lot of great other adjustable dumbbells out there, and we've got a ton of reviews coming out on them, so subscribe for those and check out our other adjustable reviews here. Thank you so much to our patrons for helping us to make content like this. This video literally would not exist without you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.